And even though I believe the large majority of the American people share those sentiments with us on what we should do, unfortunately there's been no change in policy. There is a greater danger right now that the bombing may spread over into Iran before the end of this year. That is very, very dangerous. Today I read in the New York Times that we are now building a huge new prison in Afghanistan. And we continue to build air bases in Iraq. We continue to work on this largest ever embassy in Baghdad. And then we pretend to tell the people of the Middle East, well, we're not over there to tell you how to run your lives. We're not over there to take care of the oil. We just want to make you good Democrats. Man. Believe that. So it is indeed time, and it's the people are ready. 90% of the American people say that we are in the wrong direction, going in the wrong direction. There's no doubt about it. Now, I think we've been going in the wrong direction for a long time, but something different is happening today. There is definitely a sentiment that is reflecting the failure of the empire, the failure of our foreign policy, the failure of our monetary system, the failure of the welfare state, the attack on our personal liberties, and right now the American people do not trust government as they once did. And that is a healthy thing, not to trust the government to take care of us from cradle to grave, and some good will come of it. So a couple of things happened this year. The message was sent out, the reception was good, much greater than I ever dreamed. Getting into the debates was a double edge, because one, they gave the establishment a chance to marginalize us and ridicule and laugh at the views that we express. At the same time, the views were heard by others who weren't laughing, paid attention, went to the internet, and all of a sudden discovered that there's a different way to run this country than what we have today. Yeah. This country is still very wealthy. We're doing well. We don't have people starving, but the discontent is there because they do know that the system is failing. The standard of living is going down. And it's become recognized that the wealth that we have in this country, whether it's personal or national wealth, is built on debt. And there's a limit to that. We all can be wealthy if we can borrow $1 million a month and spend and not have to deal with it until the bank calls the notes due. And a country can do this for a long time. They can live beyond its mean if the currency is strong and the wealth is there. But eventually what happens is you have to pay the price. In the 1970s, we paid the price of a failed policy of guns and butter, welfare expansion in the 60s, and then the war going on in Vietnam. That is when I got interested in studying Austrian free market economics. Came to the conclusion that it wouldn't last. And sure enough, in the 70s was a tough year, tough decade. And we had stagflation and unemployment and a lot of inflation. And yet today, conditions are that much worse. And people are realizing that there's not a lot of real wealth in this country. Our national debt now is approaching $10 trillion. The obligations of the young generation to the older generations up to $70 trillion. We have a foreign debt. We owe foreigners now. We're the greatest debtor the world has ever seen. We owe over $2.5 trillion. And this just can't last. And this is the reason why it's very appropriate and very necessary and very patriotic and very American to do but one thing. Look at how we got into the mess and come to the conclusion we got into this mess because we didn't follow the law of the land, which is the Constitution, and we can get back on track by following the Constitution. Yeah. There are a couple things in the Constitution that are very simple and clear that we have failed to follow for a long time. The monetary issue is very clear. There's no authority for a central bank, and only gold and silver should be legal tender. Now, if we had those conditions, we would not have a Federal Reserve System at all. We would get rid of it. would be absolutely no need for an income tax. We should repeal the 16th Amendment.
Yes!
But one thing that we did wrong over the last 100 years or so was not, we forgot the advice of the Founding Fathers on what we should do in our foreign policy. Because they were very strong on the issue of staying out of the internal affairs of other nations, being friends with nations and trade with nations, but not to get involved. And here we are now, involved with an empire that we can't afford. We have bases in 130 countries, over 700 bases. We're spending $1 trillion a year maintaining our empire with money we don't even have. We either have to tax, borrow, or print. It only makes our problems that much worse. And then when our economy gets weak because of this foolishness that we do, and the people start to hurt, and the people cry out, please help us, so they go to Congress, and Congress says, oh, no sweat, we'll send you some more money. So they send everybody a $600 or $1,200 check, and they send it to them and say everything is going to be okay. But the whole thing is in that period of time when it was announced that people would be getting a check to help them out, the gasoline prices went up to cancel out all the money that they got.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the way they require us to go around the world doing the things we should do. They come to us first and they tax us to go overseas and do these things. They tax us, and we go over and bomb these countries and bomb their infrastructures. Then they come back to us and they say, oh, that's terrible, we've wrecked their infrastructure, so we have to tax you again to rebuild your infrastructure over there. At the same time, there's no money left to take care of our infrastructure. We blow up their bridges, we rebuild their bridges, while our bridges are falling down. That has to be reversed. It has to be changed. I've talked a lot about the Middle East. The Middle East is a very dangerous area of the world. But you know, it didn't occur just after 9/11. 9/11, of course, was used as the excuse. There was no relationship of Saddam Hussein in Iraq to 9/11. That was only an excuse. And 9/11 was used for an excuse to undermine our liberties as well. But when we think about the Middle East, and that, of course, is what we have to stop immediately and stop spreading. But I talk about bringing troops home. I talk about bringing troops home from the Middle East. But also, don't you think it's about time to come home from Korea and Japan? Especially when the Republicans had control of the House, then we come up with these resolutions. And the resolutions were very nice sounding. Well, we have to praise the troops for doing their wonderful work. And then at the bottom part of the resolution would be, and we fully endorse this policy of warmongering. You know, but so the trick was, if you vote against it, you vote against the troops. But if you vote for it, you vote for the policy. And they've had this come up numerous times, and if you vote against it, say, oh, you don't support the troops. You're un-American. You're not patriotic. Well, you know, one thing that came out in this past year that I have been more pleased with than many other things has been the fact that our campaign has received more money from active military duty people than all the other candidates. You know, a lot of people will argue with this and say, you know, if you just come home, there'll be chaos over there. No, there'll be chaos if we stay as well.
Yeah.
And it will go broke and Americans will be killed. But you know, I heard that argument so much in the 60s. I was in the Air Force for 5 years. I was called to service. I was drafted in 1962 during the Cuban crisis. And all along those years, if we ever left Vietnam, you know, there would be a domino effect in the whole Southeast Asia would go communist. Well, it turns out, where are we today? Without fighting Vietnam, They are friends and allies and trading partners. The president of Vietnam comes here, trades with us, and visits with us. At the same time, the Chinese have become so capitalistic, they have become our banker. So these predictions made, people who tell you there'll be chaos and a real mess over there, are the same ones who told us that if we would go to war, it would be a cakewalk, and it wouldn't cost any money because the oil would pay all the bills. And now the people are arguing that we can't do it because they listen to those individuals. I say if they were wrong before, they may well be wrong on the next one.